As some of you may know, we've had a base set up in Coastal Highway for a very long time, and we've been looking into where to make a base next. And that is where we entered Timberwolf Mountain and came across the Mountaineer Hut. We've already explored and grabbed a lot of loot from the locations around Timberwolf Mountain, and we already brought all of that loot back to the Mountaineer Hut, so it's time to clean this place up. Now, the very first thing we needed to do was repair the broken roof. So for 20 cedar firewood, we fixed the roof, and it did increase the cabin temperature by 3 degrees. Now, one of the things we've already realized pretty quickly with gathering wood is that there's a lot of wood around the Mountaineer Hut, so you don't have to go too far in order to start collecting these cedar and fir limbs. We wanted to make some different furniture options than we did in Coastal Highway, so the two items we knew we wanted to include were a quilted bed and a hide chair. We started creating some space by destroying the beds and some of the other furniture that were already included. The first thing we needed to build, though, was a furniture workbench so that we could start building furniture. Yeah, that looks pretty good, at least for now. Now, the next item we wanted to build was a storage chest because we had a bunch of items scattered on the floor, and if we were going to clean this place up, we needed somewhere to put it all. Once you make a piece of furniture, if you don't immediately deploy it, there's going to be a container button you can click on, and then you can just access what you've built from there and then hit deploy. Now that we've got the chest deployed and getting filled up with all of this junk we've had kicking around, it's time to start working on that quilted bed. Now, one thing we do want to touch on is Timberwolf Mountain has a ton of blizzards. You do have clear nights most of the time, but the blizzards are insane. Just a heads up if you're planning on setting up a base here. We didn't bring any cloth with us from Coastal Highway, so we were so excited that we were able to break down a couple of extra pieces of clothing we had here at the hut already so that we could hit the 10 cloth requirement for this quilted bed. The Mountaineer Hut definitely is not a large base. Coming from Coastal Highway Quonsite Garage, we had a lot of room to add a bunch of furniture options to that place. Here, it's going to be pretty limited, but that isn't a problem. It just means you have to be pretty particular with what you're picking and choosing to put in your base. Now, the hide chair requires 2 cured deer pelts, and we only had 1 cured, so we took down another deer and put down the other deer pelt to start curing. This gave us a bunch of time to cook some venison and also boil a bunch of fresh water. Remember to always leave your meat outdoors. This will keep it more fresh for much longer, and you can just cook it as you need it. We built ourselves a tall rustic shelf while we waited for the deer pellet to finish curing. We also built this lower display shelf that we were trying to fit in kind of behind the door by the workbench. There's not really a whole lot of room in this place, so we were struggling with this one. We're not sure if we're going to leave it here, but for now, this is going to have to work. As I mentioned before, blizzards are pretty prevalent in Timberwolf Mountain, or at least from our experience they are, so just a heads up. We've taken a lot of photos in Great Bear Island as we've played across all of the different regions on this playthrough, and we wanted to hang up a couple pieces of unique art, so we hung up these ones here. The top left photo is our base in Coastal Highway. The top right photo is the fisherman cabins in Bleak Inlet. The bottom right is a picture of a moose we found in Mountain Town. And the bottom left is the Pleasant Valley Farmstead in Pleasant Valley. This is officially what our mountaineer hut base in Timberwolf Mountain looks like, and we'd be super interested to see what you guys did with this if you've made a base here. So let us know in the comments, we'd love to check it out. Now we've got this place set up, it's time to move on to the next region and build another base. Let's see where we end up next.